piece of leather, and I put some other leather here and put paper inside. And we can see pretty good. Hi everybody. Today was a really good day. See my grandchildren. Okay, so here we go. It's starting to fill up. It's so funny that they have at the Getty right now a show called Blue Paper. So I'm walking through and I'm looking at the show and I'm going, and what's so different about this? So it's starting to fill up, so I have to go to the back so you can see. This is the ultimate. So doing these, you can call them Renaissance drawings. This is the Getty. Getty. This is it. This is the ultimate. This is why I'm an artist, because I love getting lost in these long poses. Starting to fill up. I've done this pose so many times. So go with. See if this works. So this is the rough side of the paper. So maybe not. This will be smooth. See if it's rough on this side. That's rough. Already used it. Yeah, that works. It stands out. Okay. And then I got the brown. So you're doing the range of value right now. That's the darkest. That's the lightest. This is the local here. Go to the phone. And here's a guy who had a bad day. So maybe we'll draw this, or maybe we'll draw that. We'll draw this one. We'll just do part of it. Okay, here we go. So the way paper is made, I love paper. I was a print salesman. I just love paper. I'm probably the only print salesman that ever walked into an office and called paper sexy. I tell my clients, I go, this is really sexy paper. Or comparing it to chocolate. Like there was a paper called Karma, and I would compare it to Lady Godiva chocolate. It's like Lady Godiva chocolate. It's so silky. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just running my hand. I can't turn on music. Normally I'm doing this to music. So to me this is visual music. Let's see if I can better. It feels good. It looks good, but see if we can glare. There we go. Is that good for you guys? Yeah. Okay. So I just go to the internet and I'm always taking images off. So the way paper's made is you chop down a tree. Okay, so they say. Don't worry about the forests. It's not really the forest. So look at his head's going this way. I've already, just without thinking, made the head go the opposite direction. Anyways, it's not that they're trying to protect the forest. They have a lot of forest. It's the place where you after it's done, after the paper's done, you know, the landfills, that's where the problem is. We've had a lot of, when I was in sales, but it was a long time ago, had a lot of the paper reps come out and give talks and stuff. So, recycle. it has to do with post-consumer waste, how you recycle the paper. And then when it's deal with quality art paper, it's how much of this is in there. So most of the t-shirts that I'm wearing while I'm doing these lectures should probably be donated to be turned into paper pulp, because these things are so old. But again, we're in a studio. This is my studio, so I don't dress up to go into my studio. I just put on whatever's comfortable, because I'm going to be in here for hours and hours and hours. Okay, so you notice I'm just not thinking. I'm thinking about something else, which I think is probably one of the most important things. When you're drawing, think of something else. You should have your drawing to such a point where it just kind of naturally flows. It tells a story. So have your mind somewhere else. A lot of times I'm on the phone watching a movie. Definitely in another world. Not just, copying. Can't do that. So here's a side plane here. So I got that. Okay, so what they do is they take the paper and they mash it up with some pulp so that you get a grain. And the way the grain works, let me get a piece of paper. So the way the grain works, if you notice, I can take this paper, okay, and I can feel it and feel like this is going against the grain, and there it is. So if I tear it this way, it'll go to the side, but if I tear it this way, I'll get a nice straight tear. See that? Okay. But if I go like this, it'll go to the side because I'm going against the grain. So you get to the point where you can start to feel the actual grain of the paper. So you want to get a good solid grain paper, just any quality paper. That's the wood that's in there. And then you add the rag content. So if it says 100% rag, it still has, some wood content in there, should, because you want it to be stable. You notice that when you get like the really high-end rag papers, they're kind of flimsy, they're kind of like, they just kind of whatever. So then what happens is, so here I'm going cross contour, find the corner, okay, and then it's going to go this way, cross contour in the corner, find it here. We're looking into the pubic arch. So they take and they mash it all up, and then they spread it along this wire, like your wire that you have on your window, and then they suck the water out of it. So if you notice, this is the smooth side, so it's not the wire side. So they would actually call this the wire side because it's rough. If you can see it, it's kind of rough. So then you have so you want to be careful like what you draw on which side. So I remember I came to this one because I'm going to want to put a lot of detail on it. If you want a texture, it's called calendaring, and they take the paper that's on this long wire mesh and they put it into rolls, big rolls, and then they have goes through these metal, bins, and it puts texture on there. So a lathe is a lathe feel, a wove is a wove, and that's how you get the different ones. The weight, if you're going with a base weight, if it's a cover weight, if it's, usually in cover, which is the thicker of the two, you have book weight, or text, and where you go with the cover. So 500, if it's 100 pound, 500 sheets in its parent size, which is usually when they cut it into sheets, it's like 28 by 32 or something like that, or 38, or because it's like 40-inch press, so it's like maybe 41 by 30. I have to take a look. It's been a while. That 500 sheets of that will weigh 100 pounds. So that's one way to do it. Another one is to use a micrometer and measure it, and then there's a mathematical. I would just feel it. Like I would say, okay, this feels like 100-pound cover. I can, you do it long enough, you can just kind of feel it. And then you deal with the reps. And they know their paper. And I love paper. So I'm getting this going like that. Nice structure coming towards me, coming towards. And then look for the shapes like box shape. It fits. And then this will go back. Because this guy's not feeling well. Okay. So he's dead in the photo. So, but here I'm making it alive and bring the head up this way. Throwing a little Riley there. So I mix it all up. And then this arm's going to go back to nowhere, and this arm's going to come towards us. You have to have a hand or a foot in every drawing for a portfolio, so we'll put a hand on this one. And what I can do is have it go over the leg. That would cause some tension. So he ain't dead no more. Which a story says in this one, he ain't dead no more after a few days anyways, but I'm an atheist, so what do I know? Okay, here we go. Sure we'll get some mail off of that one. Okay, so there it is. So now I've got my white and I've got my dark, and we need to get in there and start feeling it. So here's the sternocleidoid mastoid on the side of his neck going that way, but I'm going to go the opposite. And this is where I get lost. And measure one head down to the bottom of the sternum. So I'm going to combine tone, line, texture, make them look up. So I go like that. Here we go. I'll put in the rhythm chart, which is in the book. It's in my textbook. This eye's behind the nose. Feel the bottom. So this rhythm comes down and forms a triangle shape. This just turns on the light. Come back to the top, walk on down. Beard. Side of the head, from here to the back. Draw like his perspective. That'll tell you where the ear is. It's in the book. Okay, leave that somewhat open for now. Go to the pit of the neck. And that will go all the way to the acromion process. Same thing on this side. So this is the rib cage. These are latissimus dorsi here. Let's take a look, see how it looks. I'll be right back. Okay, seem to be doing pretty good. I think we can get a little closer. Yeah, let's try it. Okay. Cross contour, which will be the core shadow. You want to really feel those muscles going up. Pectoralis goes to the clavicle. So I'm feeling the rib cage poking out there. So that's a STD, Scientific Trajectory Distribution System. The rectus abdominis actually goes over the thoracic arch. There's a thoracic arch, pretty wide. It's a male. It's got 90 degrees. Really gotta stick that around. The lights come in this way, so it'll be dark on this side of the pectoralis. These are called striations, which are in the muscle, going all the way to the clavicle, which is going to the acromion process. You can use the beard to show form as it hits the body. I'm starting to get lost. And lost means starting to float, which is important. Hi, everybody. So what's happening now is as I now get out of it, you get to a certain point where you float. You kind of just like go to another place, and that's the rush. That's the high. So it comes from doing it, a lot. So pectoralis goes under the deltoid. Cross contour. So we got pectoralis, and then on the deltoid, and also underneath underneath the pec is the bicep. It's coming towards me, so we wrap around this way. Deltoid, brachialis, tricep. And we're going to go over the muscles. We're going to, use the flashcards and grab a muscle and have some fun with it. Also coming from the humerus is the latissimus dorsi. So that's back here. Coming around on the rib cage is the serratus anterior. And that's coming around from the medial side of the scapula. the serratus is going to come down and connect in with the external oblique. But what we're having here is a smushed abdomen, rectus abdominis. So when it wraps around, you have a little shadow. So jump off of the xiphoid process and step right down, go boom, onto the top of the rectus abdominis. Okay, light's coming this way, so a little shadow on that side. And then we get light on this side. And I can use it to push the eye back up. Make these shapes pretty. Up like that. Midline right there. So this line is really straight on the muscle. And there's a joke, we'll do that later. I have something stupid to say about every one of the muscles. So we're going to go here, and then we're going to come around this way. So now I'm going to start feeling this side plane. So I'm thinking of the paper as a local value, into the light, and then into the dark. So this is the inguinal ligament to the anterior iliac crest. If you notice here, we've got this kind of a square shape, and that's the external oblique resting on the iliac crest. Femoris triangle here. Starbucks muscle, tensor fascia latae, down here. External oblique, and then right there, iliac crest pokes right in front, right side. So this is cleanup. You know, this is important that you understand that this fits inside of here, because, you know, it could be the, you know, on a pirate, you know, how the, you know, this belt goes across, and if it keeps shifting, because you don't know, it's going to be like jittering all over the place when it's on the screen. So you got to make sure you have this stuff down. Okay, so this is going to stick inside here. You can't just copy it. You have to build it. So, you know, when I was looking at portfolios all the time, you know, you knew immediately they were copying the drawing because it didn't work. Can't have that. Gotta build your animation drawings. Quads, rectus femoris, serratus, the sartorius here, the adductors here. So we're going to have the 5 quadratus, abductor, brevis, longus, magnus, and the esoterus. Box shape as it goes over the knee. The knee is not the kneecap. The knee is actually the condyles coming around this way. The kneecap's just the patella, and it floats. Notice I go narrow, and I turn the pencil with a nice soft edge. That's the sexy part. Okay. You guys see it okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up to the top, and I'm going to dance my way down. That's why usually I have music. I'm going to do the hand. So break your radialis to the thumb. Flexors, extensors. Step down at the wrist. I feel the top of the plane of the hand, the fingers, knuckle. Go back. No, I'm going to put in some of the accents darker. There we go. This should be your therapy. Okay, so I don't know if you're feeling down, if you're feeling bummed, if you're feeling whatever. If you're into this, you'll feel good. No, I mean, I'm totally agree with everything. I agree with depression. I agree with all that. I've seen it. And because I mirror students, I've been able to mirror what they feel, and I've been able to feel it, and it's not good. Because I can mirror people. In other words, when they walk in the room, I can feel what they're feeling. I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't. My friend calls it the gene. So if you're, not feeling well, and I'll be able to feel it. But putting that aside, if you want to float, if you want to go to another place, the Renaissance figure drawing to where it's at. If you want a sustainable career, this is where it's at. Okay? We're going to do a lot of this because I have a lot of sketchbooks. But I'm just kind of having fun with the sketchbooks that I have right now that are, being used, and we'll break in the new ones. Okay? It's just the new ones. Everybody say thank you to Corey. We'll see you on the next video.